I recently ordered a bunch of collectible silver Boba Fett coins. Do you want to see them? Pretty cool, huh?
I love gold!
I recently ordered a number of collectible coins from APMEX. One of the packages was a bunch of Boba Fett coins. And when I opened the package that seemed to be completely closed, undamaged, no issue, except that it was remarkably light, I opened it up only to find what you're seeing here, which is to say, a completely empty box. I couldn't believe it. Again, it was totally sealed, as far as I could tell. The front was closed and sealed. The shipping label was in one piece. There were no holes or scratches or anything on the box that I could see, but there was nothing inside. And what's even more interesting is I received another order at the same time for some Darth Vader coins. I ordered a number of Darth Vader coins and a number of Boba Fett coins. They shipped out at the same time. They arrived at the same time. The Darth Vader box was heavy and had all the coins inside of it. The Boba Fett box, completely empty. I wanted to share this story with all of you so that you're aware that these kinds of things can happen and to know what you might try to do after it does happen to you. You know, what's going on with me? Do I get a refund? Does APMEX resend the merchandise? What happens? Well, I reached out to APMEX and I told them that I received an empty box. They then sent me a kind of boilerplate response saying, we advise you not to accept possession of any damaged box. And we also suggest that you don't accept any package that you think might have an issue. For example, in this case, a very light package. Well, what APMEX didn't seem to understand is that no one asked me for a signature. No one asked me to accept the package in the first place. It was just left at my front step by the mailman. So I couldn't reject anything. And once I had the box, it didn't appear to be damaged whatsoever. The only reason I really opened it is because I had outstanding orders with APMEX for some gold coins, and I thought maybe it was a gold coin, and that's why the box was really light. But again, to my surprise, I opened the box, and it was completely empty. So after letting APMEX know about this, they then forwarded the issue to some investigation department or post-shipping department, something like that, to deal with these kinds of things. And now the situation I'm in is that I have to go to my local police station. I have to file a police report. I have to send that police report to APMEX. APMEX will then coordinate, probably with some combination of USPS and their own insurance company. And then, best case scenario, 4 to 6 weeks from now, I will get a refund. 4 to 6 weeks. This package that appears to have been either stolen or someone did something wrong at the APMEX facility before it left. It's hard to say. It was a $1,600 order. So that's $1,600 waiting, I think, I can't remember how long, maybe 2 to 3 weeks to receive the order. And now I'm going to wait 4 to 6 weeks to receive the refund. Now, we're in the metal stacking space, right? We're in the space where we're dealing with savings accounts and investing. We look at things like the Federal Reserve. We're concerned about inflation. And so that money, that $1,600, it could have been put anywhere else for 8 weeks. It could have been building, accruing interest for 8 weeks. I could have had it in a high yield savings account. I could have had it in a crypto lending platform. I could have put it in the stock market for the last 8 weeks. But instead, it's just going to be tied up in this process of waiting to find out that, yes, in fact, I received an empty box. And so it can be a rather disconcerting experience, especially for those for whom something like $1,600 is a kind of major purchase. I mean, even for me, it's a major purchase, but for some people, it's much larger than others. For some people, that $1,600 means a lot more than for others. So to have a kind of a big metal company and a big insurance company sitting there with that kind of money for multiple months, it doesn't really feel like the kind of customer service that one might expect because, again, there's literally nothing that I could have done differently, right? I couldn't have rejected the packages if I wanted to. And even if I hadn't opened it, well, what would that really have changed? Maybe it would be slightly more evidence for the case, but the result is still the same. So it's very unfortunate. I never expected to receive a closed, sealed, empty box, but I have. And I want to give you another story as well, a story that took place right after this order, which is when I picked up some slabbed gold and silver coins here. These are the new Type 2 Eagles, which you can see in another one of my videos. Now, I placed an order for these slabbed coins months before they arrived, because not only did we have to wait for the Type 2 coins to actually come from the US Mint, but these, of course, had to go be graded, slabbed, and then sent to me. So I waited months. I paid, they're probably looking at about $4,000 worth of value right there, a little bit more than that. And I waited months to receive these, which was fine because, we're getting a little bit of history here. These slabs on the right are FDI, first day of issue. So I now have a little piece of history here, which, I'm happy about. That's pretty cool. These were some of the first Type 2 Eagles minted. And while there are a lot of those, over time, the number will dwindle. Some will be lost, some will be destroyed. And I know that I'll have these, which are that piece of history locked in a slab. No problem waiting to receive it. But here's what happened. I received the empty collectible coin box before these Eagles arrived. And so I was very much paying attention to when these were supposed to arrive. The day that they were scheduled for delivery by USPS, all day, I kept an eye on my front door, both for packages and for mail delivery. Well, I had a couple Amazon packages show up, and the mail came, but it was just junk mail. These packages were nowhere to be found, and then I got a couple emails from APMEX saying, your orders have been delivered. Your $4,000 worth of gold and silver coins have been delivered. And absolutely, they had not been delivered. So this was starting to worry me a lot. The package right before this seemed to have been stolen in transit, and now I didn't even receive boxes for these. I emailed APMEX. I got that process started immediately because, these two packages were worth over twice as much as the previous one that disappeared or was stolen in transit. And so I didn't want to waste any time on this issue. Now, obviously, it was resolved because you see that I have these coins in hand. So what exactly happened? Well, the next day, I walk out my front door to get some lunch, and I see what looks like a couple pieces of trash on my lawn. I live in a residential area. I've got a street right in front of my house, a little bit of grass between my house and the street, and I have a little iron fence between the grass and the sidewalk / the street. So occasionally some jerks will walk by and they'll toss some trash into my yard. But as I got closer to what I thought was trash, I eventually realized that actually they were the APMEX orders for these coins that you see in front of you. That what had happened was two concerns. USPS delivered $4,000 worth of coins to the wrong address, clearly not asking for a signature. And to be clear, no APMEX package that I have ever received has required a signature. I've now found out that supposedly all of them are supposed to be signed for. 0 have ever required a signature. And clearly these didn't because they were delivered to the wrong address. And then whoever that neighbor was, I don't know which neighbor it was, but they apparently realized that this wasn't for them. They walked over to my house and literally threw the packages over my fence. Now, this is not a this is not a tall wooden fence or anything, okay? This is just a small metal fence to separate the sidewalk from my yard. And anyone is capable of walking up to the front of the house. It's just a few extra steps. But whichever neighbor it was decided that, they weren't going to just set it by my front door or anything. They were just going to literally throw it over the little fence onto the grass. Not only did the USPS mistake mean that my neighbor could have opened these and kept what was inside, but a homeless person could have walked by and picked up these packages right off the grass. Like anybody could have picked them up for hours. They were sitting there for hours. So by a stroke of luck, I noticed them, I picked them up, and I was able to, retrieve these coins inside. But that's how close I came to losing another $4,000 on orders from APMEX. And I don't mean to throw APMEX under the bus here, because as far as I can tell, this is a collection of USPS screw-ups. But the point is, APMEX is the company that I'm shopping with. I depend on them to get these orders to me safely and securely. And 3 out of the last 3 packages that I've received have had serious issues associated with them. I wanted to share those stories with you again so that you have a notion of how things can go wrong, even if it's just the delivery service, how things can go wrong with your very expensive metal purchases. Also, if you're someone who's selling online, you definitely make sure that you are using the appropriate insurance, because sometimes these things will go missing and mistakes will be made. And again, in my case, in terms of these slabbed coins, they were marked as delivered. Fortunately, I have cameras in appropriate places to demonstrate that I never received these. But imagine if you shipped something to a customer. Let's say you're selling on eBay or you're selling through a website and you ship something to a customer. Sometimes the policy that you'll put in place is you'll accept responsibility up to the point that it's marked as delivered. Well, these packages were marked as delivered, but they definitely weren't. I never received them. So that can get you into some really shaky insurance territory, possibly chargebacks. So these are things to keep in mind. Just be aware of what these risks really are when you're engaging in metal purchases over the internet using standard couriers. So I hope that information was useful for some of you. I hope you all are a little more aware of the risks that you're taking when you place these orders. 4 to 6 weeks in the best case scenario is a long time to wait just to receive a refund. And I should also point out that with these slabbed coins, like a refund wouldn't even have fixed the problem, because these are FDI, first day of issue slabs, these 2 on the right. There's only so many of these in existence. And if APMEX were to, let's say, be out of these, then I'd have to go to the secondary market, and the secondary market would, of course, charge me a lot more. Not to mention that even if APMEX still has these, they're probably more expensive today than when I reserved them multiple months ago. Even a refund in 4 to 6 weeks wouldn't make up for the loss of these slabs. So something to keep in mind. Now, how about any of you watching this? Have you ever had issues with your deliveries, whether you're buying or selling? Have these kinds of things happened to you, and how did you resolve them? Are there any companies that you've just decided not to order from because you can't reasonably expect to receive your package? You can't trust them to get it to your door? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hopefully this kind of thing won't happen again. I don't think I can avoid APMEX. APMEX has too many exclusives, so I'll just have to deal with these issues as they come. But hopefully this doesn't happen anymore. Hopefully I can keep on stacking. I am Scrooge McStacker, and I hope you too will keep on stacking. I'll see you in the next one.